Hello, scholars. So today I wanted to talk to you about selecting a dissertation topic with the help of AI for your research. Now we're going to proceed assuming that only one research question is necessary for your dissertation. The best dissertation is a done dissertation. Do not overcomplicate it. You want to be done and be doctor. Anything else you want to research, you can do after your doctor. A good dissertation is going to be between 200 and 300 pages. You do not want a 1,000-page dissertation. So get rid of the idea of doing a mixed method study. It is literally twice the work. So the first thing you're going to want to decide is which way you're going to be more comfortable reasoning. The research question drives the methodology, but I always tell my students, because you want to finish that doctorate, you're going to want to pick the methodology that comes a little more natural to you. Most people are either stronger in inductive or deductive reasoning. Inductive is qualitative. This is the type of research that wants to uncover why. It gets in depth, it explores. Okay. So this is the research method that wants all the little details. And think of the difference between the way a woman might explain a problem at the grocery store to her husband and then to her closest girlfriend. To her husband, she's going to come home, and typically he's just going to want to hear, there was an incident at the grocery store. Somebody came in and they started screaming and yelling at me because they didn't like the t-shirt I was wearing, and they got in my face and I had to call for help. A stock boy came in and they called the police and the manager had them escorted out. I didn't finish my shopping today. Versus telling another woman her story. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened to me today. So I went down to the local to the A&P and I was doing my grocery shopping and I had on a red shirt and they mistook it for, I don't know, something else. And they got in my face and they started screaming at me and calling me racial slurs and calling me vile and disgusting. And they were really in my face. They scared the hell out of me. Everybody in the grocery store stopped. I was standing over here in the produce section and just started screaming 911. I'm 911. And the next thing you know, the grocery store manager and a stock boy came running over. Boy, let me tell you, that stock boy was big. But that person screaming at me, they had, blue hair and big glasses on and just a really short haircut, and they were frothing at the mouth. It was it was really bad. Everybody stopped and moved away, and I tried backing up, and the more I backed up, the more they got in my face. Finally, security showed up and somebody called the police, and this person was taken outside. They asked me if I was hurt or injured and if I wanted to press charges. I was so shook up I couldn't finish my shopping. I mean, look at me. This is what I was wearing. Why would somebody mess with me for wearing a red t-shirt? So think about the difference there, okay? In the differences inductive and deductive reasoning, the descriptions are important to one method of reasoning and not as important to the other. Okay. Are you the type of person that likes getting those descriptions to get the nuances, to get the feel and the underlying movement, to learn about things, and then you can apply it, generally speaking, to broader situations or other situations? That's inductive reasoning. That's qualitative. Now, if you're the type of person that's a deductive reasoner, you're going to be more of a big picture thinker. Okay. When somebody tells you a story and they're giving you too much detail, are you constantly reorienting them to tell you what's germane to the story? Are you constantly trying to, come on, get on with it? What happened next? Okay, I see this happened. Are you the big picture thinker? Do you see this, then that, therefore this must be the conclusion? A deductive reasoner is going to test hypotheses that already exist. Okay. A deductive reasoner isn't going to need all of that little nitty gritty because they're interested and honed in, focused on the big picture. So what kind of reasoner are you? A deductive reasoner is quantitative. And quantitative is more than just numbers. The computer will do the numbers. It has instant epiphanies from your hypothesis testing. I love those. Okay. So what kind of thinker are you? Do you like words and stories and descriptions? Or do you like fact, 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 conclusion? Okay. Once you have identified the type of reasoner you are, inductive or deductive, you can sort of lean toward a methodology. Okay. So with that being said, the next thing you're going to want is a topic that is aligned with your degree. So you're not going to come to me and tell me that you want to study the motivation for charging more money. If you're a business student, you're going to want to study a business topic. You're not going to want to study education if you're a business student. You're going to want to study something to do with education if you're an education student. So your topic must be aligned with your degree. And then the next thing you need to know is you need to have a study where participants are willing to participate. Think about it. If you wanted to study toxic leadership, and then you started walking up to leaders that you knew were toxic, and you said, "Hey, I'm studying toxic leadership. Want to participate in my study?" They'll be insulted. If you want to study a business that's doing things on the down low or shady, and you walk up to the organization and said, "I'm studying this, I'd like to study you," they're going to tell you no. So if a study is going to make your participants look bad, they're not going to want to do it, even if you're keeping everything confidential. What you're going to want to do is show them the benefits to participating in your study and how they could use the results to improve their life, their business, their organization, or whatever. Now, the next thing you need to know before you go to AI and ask is you need to keep it narrow focused. You do not want to throw in everything but the kitchen sink. The best dissertation is a done dissertation. So keep it narrow and focused. And you will repeat yourself a lot in a dissertation because every new word is a new idea that you have to discuss in depth. Remember, researchers seldom agree on anything. They don't even agree on a definition of marriage. You know, researchers would even tell you, well, some might say you don't even have to be living to be married because in some ancient Chinese cultures, they believe if a son dies without a wife, he'll be alone in eternity. So they'll find a dead wife for their dead son and marry them after death. So they don't agree on anything. So you will use the same words and concepts over and over again and introduce nothing new, and it will be narrow. Do not throw in everything but the kitchen sink. Okay. So what you're going to do once you've decided on these things is you're going to go to AI. I use Copilot. So we're going to use Copilot today, and I'm going to give Copilot some parameters to help select dissertation topics. Okay, so hey, Copilot, I would like help selecting a potential dissertation topic today. I am a DBA student and interested in the silver market um, and the problems that came out in the news last night of shorts in the vaults and shortages for industrial applications. I want to do a quantitative study with one research question, and I Like to use a valid and reliable survey. What ideas do you have? So let's see what he comes back with. All right, so this is rich, timely space for a DBA dissertation. You can absolutely build a rigorous quantitative study with a single, sharply focused research question and a validated survey instrument. The key is to shift from market mechanics, which you can't survey, to organizational decision-making, risk perception, or strategic behavior among firms that respond to silver shortages. Below are some ideas. Now look at some of what he has. Each includes a single research question and a valuable survey instrument. All right. How about organizational risk perception and supply chain adaptation in response to precious metal shortages? How does perceived supply chain risk influence firms' adoption of strategic mitigation behaviors in industries dependent on silver? You can survey managers about perceived risk, resilience, and adaptation behaviors. And look, he gives you some valid and reliable surveys. This is a regression, by the way, a multiple regression. How does perceived risk and resilience predict adaptation behaviors? Okay, here's another one. Investor sentiment toward precious metals during a market stress events, right? How does perceived market manipulation risk affect investor confidence in the physical silver market? And we have some survey options here. Financial tolerance scales, investor confidence index, and market manipulation perception scale. Okay, so look at these. There are a whole bunch of ideas, and he helps you select and narrow things down. All right, and AI can help you select a valid and reliable instrument, by the way. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, what if I wanted to study what if I wanted to do a qualitative study on professor perceptions of AI influencing student papers at the doctoral level? Right? Here's just a different example. And look, gatekeeping, supervision and feedback, policy practice gap. And it gives you the core focus with possible designs. And he has more than one idea here. If I can get this to scroll. All right, professor's lived experience of an AI in doctoral student writing. How do doctoral faculty perceive and experience the influence of generative AI on the quality and integrity of doctoral student papers? Look, he's got an approach, sampling techniques, AI and doctoral supervision, how chairs adapt to their mentoring, the policy practice gap, how professors interpret AI rules for doctoral writing, how do doctoral faculty interpret and enact institutional policies on generative AI in evaluating doctoral student papers. Okay? And then he goes through strategies for trustworthiness and everything else. Okay? So you can use AI to help you generate topics. Okay. How about this? Can you suggest a topic for a DBA student where there is a gap in the research and the design uses a survey? So say I don't know what I want to study at all. Look at this. Now he's come up with ideas. Leadership, trust, and employee adoption of data-driven decision making. And there's gap in the research. Remote work burnout and productivity signals in hybrid teams. Ethical AI use in higher education. Look at all of these wonderful ideas. Okay? So I just wanted to show you that when you have no idea or you're told that you can't do your idea for whatever reason, you're not alone. You can go out there, you can kick the idea around with AI, and then you can come back to your professor or your chair and narrow things down and have them help you turn this into a doable study. Okay? So I hope this helps you. Remember, this is Copilot that I used for these ideas. All right, reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.